আর আমার পাওয়ার চাই, কোথায় লাভজনক হবে কোথায় লাভজনক হবে না আমাদের থেকে ওই কিতাব পড়া দুজন বা বাইরের থেকে একজন এসে তারা জানবে না।
I want power, absolute power, and that's all. Hearing the words and the way she says them, you might think that you are listening to the voice of a dictator rather than the Prime Minister of a democratic country. We are talking about a country where one person decides the electoral fate of all 350 members of the parliament. In the last election of January 7th, we saw the occurrence of such events. Where there is no opposition, the so-called opposition party in the parliament, the Jatiya Party has acted as an opposition party to compromise with only 26 seats thrown away by the faithful controller, and the remaining 220 of the party's deprived members have withdrawn from the contest before the start of the election. Those who had heated up the election field were either the nominees of the government party or its B team.
আমরা কেউ আওয়ামী লীগের বাইরে না, আমরাই নৌকা, এখানে ইগল মার্কাই নৌকা মার্কা, বুঝেন নাই?
Products of the same party with the blessing of the party chief, in their language, dummy candidates or so-called independents. The entire incident is a reflection of the plan of 50 years ago, the Farcical system, created by the Prime Minister's father, was a one-party rule in Bangladesh where there were no such thing as an opposition party. Everyone participating in the election is nominated by only one party. Today, the countrymen have to swallow the bitterness of the election of that Farcical system. There were two options before the people. One, vote to legitimize this sham election of dictatorship, or reject the election and let them know that the people are boycotting this sham election in disgust. People today spontaneously chose the second option. Martyred President Ziaur Rahman, the founder of Bangladesh Nationalist Party, the promulgator of independence, came to responsibly managing the country and put an end to the one-party rule and return the country to a multi-party democratic system. And the former Prime Minister Begum Khaleda Zia gave two unique gifts to the nation. First, it was under her leadership that the parliamentary democratic system was established and the caretaker government system for national elections under non-partisan government as a symbol of public confidence, an excellent electoral system. This proved to be a very excellent election method for the country. But Awami League, which won the elections held under the caretaker government in 2008, used the court system as a part of their far-reaching conspiracy and nefarious plan to permanently grab the power and establish an authoritarian system of governance in Bangladesh. As part of their far-reaching conspiracies and nefarious plans, and to keep power in perpetuity and establishing Sheikh Hasina's authoritarian rule, the caretaker government system was removed from the constitution. It gave birth to an electoral system where the Prime Minister and members of Parliament can participate in elections without resigning from their posts. They have also removed the referendum system, which is essential for such a big change in the constitution. Bangladesh Nationalist Party has been protesting against these anti-people activities from the very beginning. The people of the country have much regrettably lost their opportunity to exercise their right to vote, and this government has from the very beginning sought to divert the people from voting by making the right to vote meaningless so that their hold on power is not questioned. The first evidence of which was seen in 2014 national elections, where the people of Bangladesh were cheated of their constitutional electoral right to vote, and hence deprived of their right to their electoral franchise, when 153 candidates were elected to the parliament totally unopposed, undermining the entire essence and spirit of free, fair and participatory elections. In 2018, the mass public witnessed another novel fraud of midnight election. On the assurance of today's Prime Minister, even Bangladesh Nationalist Party participated in that tainted election of 2018. But along with the people of the country, BNP was also cheated that day. A government steeped in corruption, who are running a festivity of corruption in every sphere, risk-filled reserves, mega corruption of mega projects, ruined banking sectors along with laundering of nearly 1 lakh crores of taka every year. The police and the administration have been made 100% party obedient and partisan. The judicial system is questionable, and an ineffective and spineless election commission has been added to it. What other option did the BNP and their like-minded parties have but to boycott the election in protest of such a staged sham election? The so-called national election of January the 7th is a clear proof that there was not the slightest mistake in their decision. What did the world see? Every polling station is empty of voters from the morning till evening. Whether in the city or in the villages, the election officials are out to work, children voting to show increased voter percentage and notorious creatures in front of the fields, free movement of animals in front of the fields near the polling stations. But what followed was not only tragic but scandalous for any country and nation in this modern world. Freestyle filling of ballot boxes with government party symbols in front of the election officials.
ওনারা জোর করে ওদের তারা দেখছে তো জোর করে মেরে গেছে
কে মারছে
চিনি না
কে মারছে কারা এরা কারা
A failed attempt to deceive the election observers by showing an artificial crowd with no voters standing.
এখন কিসের জন্য দাঁড়াইছেন? হ্যাঁ, ছবি তোলার জন্য।
But the most shameful thing was that involvement of young children in this fraudulent activity.
বয়স কত?
বয়স 18
বয়স 18 প্রমাণ আছে?
কি ভোটার? হ্যাঁ? কার ভোট দিতে আসছো?
Even the Prime Minister's center itself was not free from the episode of election fraud. The official result sheets showed that she got 100% of the voters cast in one center, while other candidate got 0 votes. In another center, her votes were more than the number of total votes casted. Of course, as it relates to the Prime Minister herself, it may be corrected by now. The constituency of the General Secretary of Awami League was not spared from electoral lawlessness. There were also numbers of cases were seen of publicly giving the seals to both symbol, which is the symbol of Awami League.
ধুমায় সিল মারতেছে ওবায়দুল কাদেরের ভোট চিত্র। এই নির্বাচনের নাম হলো বাল্য নির্বাচন। শেখ হাসিনাকে চুরি করে নির্বাচন তৈরি হওয়া লাগলো। সবচেয়ে বেশি ওবায়দুল কাদেরের এলাকায় চুরি হয়েছে।
The constituency of Prime Minister's private investment advisor Salman F. Rahman was also not left out.
ঢাকা 1 আসনে দোহারের মকসুদপুরের শাইনপুকুর সরকারি প্রাথমিক বিদ্যালয় কেন্দ্রে সাধারণ শিশুদের দিয়ে ভোট দেওয়ার অভিযোগ এমন প্রমাণও পাওয়া গেছে। নির্বাচনী কর্মকর্তা বললেন যে বিষয়টি নিয়ে তার কিছুই করার ছিল না।
There were incidents of fake voting by sealing the ballots by partymen openly. BBC, Deutsche Welle, AFP and most of the first-line media outlets of the country and around the world gave eyewitnesses accounts of all these crimes throughout the day.
তখন লাইন থেকে চলে গেলেন।
All day, almost every polling station across the country was found empty. But in the afternoon, all on a sudden, the Chief Election Commissioner gave information to the public of 18.5% voter count. But almost all television's reports in Dhaka itself say that this rate is not more than 5 to 7%.
আমি আসছি আধা ঘন্টায়। আপনাদের দাঁড়িয়ে
অনেক মানুষ এই কারণে
দেখতে পাচ্ছি না
At the end of the day, the Chief Election Commissioner suddenly choked and found hesitant, said that being prompted that the polling rate was close to 40%,
এমনিতে যেটা আমরা পেয়েছি 28%-এর মতো ন্যাশনাল অ্যাভারেজ না ওটা দুটোই ছিল ওটা দুটোই ছিল 40%.
because like him, everyone in the country knows how much to say the polling rates. Several Awami League leaders are confessing to their past misdeeds by self-immolation today. How they sealed thousands of ballot boxes the night before the voting of 2018. Clashes in between the government parties, members, burning of polling stations, shootings, amputations of hands, severe injuries and murders were not left out. This so-called election unwittingly created a plebiscite referendum where 90% of the people abstained from voting and showed unwavering support for the necessity of a caretaker government as demanded by Bangladesh Nationalist Party, and it proves their victory.
প্রত্যেকটা বুথে প্রায় একই সিনারিও যে 431টা ভোট আছে, তার মধ্যে ভোট করেছে 3টা, 450টা ভোট আছে, তার মধ্যে ভোট করেছে 9টা। এরকমভাবে আসলে খুব কম সংখ্যক ভোট আমরা দেখতে পাচ্ছি।
Old age allowance cards, widow allowance cards, disabled cards and national identity cards, withholding them, threat of a not burial after death, fear of torture by Awami cadres, call to go to polling stations on mosque microphones. Nothing could make 90% people to go to the polling station. We know that historically no dictator has lasted forever, and Bangladesh will be no exception. This farcical election on January 7th undoubtedly took the movement to overthrow the dictatorship a step forward. Even in the midst of 100 disappointments, some convincing realities reveal our intuition, and I would like to introduce you to such a scenario. The widowed mother wants to go to the polls to save her widow's allowance card, but the teenager doesn't want to let her mother participate in the farcical election. The juvenile's persuasive resistance. Mother, don't beg for your widow's allowance card. I will work as a farm laborer to support the family. But you, please don't go. What a cruel blackmailing about the government's social security program. Alas, this is not the Bangladesh we want to live in. Bangladesh will not lose its way as long as these confident children and teenagers who are behind our eyes remain in this country.